Hey everyone, and welcome to the Investor's Guide to Joy, a podcast that I created just from my experience in business and investing, pursuing wealth, and ultimately now focusing on joy. Today, I'm going to do a solo show for how I'm going to tweak a little bit of this podcast, the direction I'm going, things I'm up to, and important things that you can take away as an individual who is looking to grow, preserve, or steward their wealth. Now, what I've realized with business is that success isn't enough. I hit that wall myself. On paper, everything looked great. Revenue was up, clients rolling in, momentum was strong. But ultimately, behind the scenes, I was stuck in a cycle, always working, always needed no freedom, no real peace. And that's when I knew something had to shift because I had nothing left. I didn't build a business. I ultimately built a cage, and I've really done this a couple times at this point. Through this process, I've really found that there are several ways that we kind of build cages, but ultimately called them businesses. I've wanted more lifestyle freedom as I've had these different companies, and it's something that I didn't. What I really wanted was more lifestyle freedom, and to grow something powerful didn't require me every second of the day. And I realized so many business owners are stuck in this same place. Either they're in the early grind, hustling with no real direction, or they've built something successful but can't figure out how to sell or scale without burning it down. And that's exactly why I created a business growth group called Octane, helping entrepreneurs like you find a new gear, one that creates both wealth and freedom. I've been through the fire, and now I'm using what I've learned to help others escape the burnout trap and build something sustainable. This isn't business strategy, it's a lifestyle blueprint, and it starts here. Now, in this process of building Octane, so that's the reason why I'm going to change the format of the podcast as well as what I'm going to focus on. And the reason is simply because, again, I've lived some of these lives. I've bought my own company, sold one, several didn't work out, and I've always been stuck in different sort of levels with different sort of devils, either with partnerships on my own from the venture capitalist firm that we had and we raised funds with. And there's always just been snags. And those snags, I've really learned a lot through that. And I'm really excited to share more about what those are, the lessons I've learned, and really help other business owners create more lifestyle freedom, especially as you start working 60, 70, even 80 hours a week. And this idea of hard work equals success, you really find that you're chained to the day-to-day, wearing every hat. And ultimately, if you stop, the business stops, which is not freedom. And you constantly spin this hamster wheel thinking that you'll be just on the other side, just one more deal, but just is such a challenging word because it ultimately means that there is some lack of belief that it will happen. And so we'll also go through some mindset with business owners and ultimately information even on the markets as well to how to navigate. We're not going to go into as much detail, for example, in terms of pricing or go to market or things like that. That's more for the group because it is more specific. But at a high level, we'll talk with high level people who are ultimately stewards and are able to execute. They really just need a little bit more direction, a little bit of education, and truth be told, a little bit of encouragement. Owning a business is the most challenging thing that I have experienced simply because it takes all of you. And even I found takes more of what I'm willing to give because I've constantly, again, been on this hamster wheel in previous times of if I don't work, the business doesn't grow. And now I'm at that point where that is not the case. And I've talked to over 1,000 different business owners or capital raisers over the course of my tenured careers and have learned so many things that, truth be told, I didn't realize I was learning along the way, but through documentation process and outlining those things beforehand, I've really kind of made this journal and this experience and guide to help those really get out of it. And for the things simply I don't know, we have experts and processes with that. I'm still learning as well, but certainly can get most out of the gulag and ultimately into the greener pastures. I've also found that ultimately running a business is extremely lonely. And so by creating this Octane group, it's the opportunity to be around others who are high achieving business leaders who are stewards with their time, talents, and treasure and are really looking for the next level and know it's ultimately within them and really within their business. It's again, just aligning them more with what they need for the liberation, to ultimately help them increase their business, ultimately with liberation. Ultimately, they really find that it's within that. I mean, even really just over the past year, the family office events I've been to, the networks and connections that I've come across, as well as just the industry insights from the venture capitalist level, the private equity level, even just the business buying and ownership level, really has just created this symbiotic relationship in terms of potential for where businesses could ultimately go. It's just really business owners are kind of left to their own devices and really don't get access until they reach kind of the eight-figure mark. And even at the eight-figure mark, they're still underutilized in terms of resources, knowledge, and execution to be that. The other piece is, regardless, if you do grow your company and you do have lifestyle freedom, the challenge is then what does that look like from a valuation and a sales standpoint? So this is another huge issue that I found. And simply because most business owners think they're building wealth, but really, truly, they're just building job with a nicer paycheck. And so they've got income, but they might have that freedom, a brand, but really no exit plan. And so that's something that we'll also dive into deep. That's also something we'll dive into deep because ultimately most founders are never taught how to think like CEOs, let alone how to become investors. And really, I'm not here to give you a better to-do list. I'm really here to help you build a better life, one that's fueled by clarity, not chaos, and building the gap between that. Now, if you're a business owner, you're probably fitting in one or two categories. The first is the ambitious, scrappy, figure it out as you go. You've got the momentum, but no clear model. You're probably hiring friends, watching YouTube gurus, chasing the next big play, constantly purchasing courses or connections or reading and consuming. You're not afraid to hustle, but ultimately you're building fast, not wisely, and scaling chaos. As you hit ceilings, you really don't even understand. Your systems are weak and creates a lot of challenges that constantly break. And so you tend to do them yourself because you know you can be predictable instead of really taking a step back to really build those boundaries and systems, focusing on your leadership and ultimately growing sustainably. Managing might even feel like babysitting than more vision casting. And when growth does come, it often breaks. There's confusion with the success and end up really tired, frustrated, and unsure if it's really even worth it anymore. Now, the next type of founder I tend to see is the one who's been in the game for years, maybe even decades. It makes money, people rely on them, but they're still tired. They feel stuck. Their identity is tangled up in the business, and even thinking about stepping away brings fear, confusion, and loss of control. This is the biggest one I found ultimately has been control, either control on how things are done or the decisions that they make. Now, this second business owner knows how to operate, but they don't know how to exit. And worse is they actually maybe convince themselves it's too late to try, or even worse, that it's too easy to sell. Selling a business is not like selling real estate. Ultimately, it takes a longer process with more structure and intention around it. And so by teaching both groups what they're missing, either for the young builder with sustainable growth or the more seasoned business owner, creating clarity and value, whether it means selling or stepping back, it really gives the opportunity to show them how to unlock the wealth they've already created and finally start living the life they were grinding for in the first place. So no matter where you're at, builder or veteran, you deserve more than just survival. You deserve freedom, you deserve clarity, you deserve the ability to spend more time with your family, create impactful opportunities in your community, and really live the life that you truly want to live. Now, within these next podcast episodes, I'm really excited to talk about three sort of core tenets. First is going to be scaling without burnout. Now, with scaling, most founders think scaling means people, more offers, more chaos, which is not the case. Scaling the right way is ultimately designing a business that functions without consistent input. We help you build systems that don't just grow revenue, they reduce your stress, they reduce complexity. We focus on operational excellence, team alignment, client exposure, and your leadership bandwidth. You'll learn how to delegate without disaster and finally stop being the glue that holds everything together. It's such an emotional challenge to do that consistently. And you're already doing that at home, potentially, doing that at work, most likely. And you're probably also the individual who's involved in the community in some way as well. Now, the next core tenet we're going to focus on in these future podcasts is going to be exit strategy. So whether you want to step away from day-to-day ops or sell the company entirely, most founders do not know exactly what it takes. Like I mentioned, we walk you through a proven framework, to prepare your business to run and thrive without you, helping your identity focused on, will help you identify your value drivers, strengthen your multiples, and create opportunity. I've done this at a number of companies, either ones that I've owned, operated, or even been within. Number of different case studies I can go through and share of how you can help get ready to exit on your terms, not someone else's. And the last piece is going to be wealth building. Ultimately, without growth and protection, it's just noise, because helping you shift your mindset from operator to owner to then even investor. How can you invest beyond and outside of your company, either from a volunteer, either from a nonprofit standpoint, or a for-profit opportunity? Helping you think in decades, not just quarters. We'll go through tax strategy, asset allocation, and generational legacy planning to help show you how to secure what you've built and multiply it beyond just your business. It's not just tactics, it's absolutely transformation. And that is my goal for you, is that through these podcast episodes that you have transformation, because once you know how to scale, exit, and build wealth, you stop playing defense, you stop reacting, you start designing a business and life that works for you. And once you experience that, you'll never go back. And you'll also share this experience and opportunity with others. And collectively, we can create a ripple effect as conscious capitalists to not just grow our incomes or our status, but simply to elevate ourselves, our families, our communities, our industry, the customers we serve, and the world that we live in. Now, that is the true mission, to ultimately help business owners, is ultimately helping the world. And truth be told, not everyone's going to take the leap. Most will continue just listening to podcasts and really continue to get stuck in a number of these different traps that I'll go through. Now, if you want to keep grinding, keep guessing, keep building that business that owns you, I applaud you, because it ultimately is a sacrifice to do so. Now, if you want to choose differently by choosing clarity and choosing freedom, then I invite you to apply to Octane. It's not for everyone. We're extremely selective, but really the work that is going to be done is going to absolutely transform your business and giving you your life back, building a legacy that lasts. But if you don't, someone else will, and they'll be living the life you're still chasing while you're stuck in survival. Appreciate you listening to this one-off episode of how I'm really now going to focus more on business owners and the wealth that we can create and grow in the process, as well as the individuals I'll have on and the experiences that will be told. I'm very excited for this next chapter and can't wait to share more. Thanks for listening today. If you've not yet reviewed, please give a review of the show. Thank you for listening to today's show. Today was all about the direction that the podcast is going to head for how we're going to help not just business owners, but really the world. And I'm excited for what's to come. Now let's go out there and build joy.